Hi everybody, and welcome back to From This Corner TV. I'm Marilyn, Dayton, your host and producer, and we've got a really special program tonight for you. You know that I love music. Those of you who've been following my blog, From Glam to Gram, love the name, know that that my dad worked with Elvis, and that I've worked with other musicians through the years. And so music has always been a big part of my life. I just always wish I could have done something with it, but you know, it just wasn't meant to be. So tonight we're going to be talking with Chris Leigh and Amy Leigh. And we're going to be talking about the, now is it the third annual?
Yes, this is our third Mystic Blues Festival.
The third annual Mystic Blues Festival, and it's a wonderful thing because it gives us a chance to enjoy the outside, of course, run into our friends, enjoy great music, some really great musicians. Johnny Winter wasn't he there last year?
He was our headliner on Saturday night last year, yes.
And wasn't that his last live gig?
Unfortunately, yes. That was his last. It was his last American performance. 2 weeks later, he went to Europe, and he passed in Europe, unfortunately.
Oh, wow.
But
wow.
yes, we were fortunate to have him at our festival.
So let's, before we talk about the headliners this year, let's get a little bit of history on the Blues Festival and why Mystic is so fortunate to have this event. Why and when and where did you come up with the idea for the Blues Festival?
Well, we had been brainstorming the idea of doing a festival for a while, and one evening we had gone to see James Cotton perform up at Bridge Street Live in Collinsville. And I had actually opened up for him the night before in Mystic. So we were going up to see him the next night, and we had a really nice time, obviously, and driving home. And the topic came up in the car. Why don't we start our own festival? And one thing led to another, and the idea was shared with a group of really wonderful people that we work with in Mystic. And these folks wanted to get behind the idea, so we formed an organization to put on the festival.
And 3 years now. How long did it take to put together the event for the first time? How much planning?
Well, the first year was very different than last year or this coming year's festival. We actually pulled it together. Our first meeting was, I think, early December. And we put the event on the last weekend of June. So it was a very quick ramp up to the festival. The last 2 years we've been working on it pretty much year round. It is a year round thing that you do. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts to putting on a festival, and as we've done it every year, we've learned more about it. So, but it's something that you have to stick with and continue to effort on it all throughout the year.
Yes, I've been involved with a few festivals in the area. Being in Mystic, I work on the Outdoor Art Festival, and we actually meet after the festival and we say, okay, what did we learn this year that we need to apply next year? You know, which is a good idea to do, and then take notes and not lose them. And then we start planning the ideas for the next year, because it does take a team, and it does take a lot of time and a lot of planning. And with musicians, their schedules are just so prearranged. Mm-hmm. What kind of resource do you use to find the musicians and get them lined up?
For the most part, it's been me reaching out to people that I know who are players, either local and regional players. Some of the national acts we've contacted through agencies, but a big part of what we're trying to do is to promote our local and regional talent. And so, because I've been playing here in southeastern Connecticut and South County, Rhode Island for such a long time, I've gotten to know folks, and I really want to support their careers and present all the great talent that we have here in our region, in the blues and roots music genre.
Now, one of the things that I know our viewers are probably thinking, there's a lot of crossover in genres today where things used to be more defined. How do you determine which people should be in a blues festival? I mean, how wide a range is that genre now?
Well, blues music is a foundation style. In other words, a lot of other styles of music have sprung out of blues. Rock and roll, for example. Jazz music is very closely aligned with that as well. A lot of the Americana styles of music also have a tradition that goes back to blues and bluegrass music. So, when I think about the festival and like what is going to work for a blues fan, I want to include as many different flavors of roots music as I can. We've had bands like Roomful of Blues in the past. They're coming from like that 30s, 40s swing era style of playing, very much influenced by people like T-Bone Walker and Louis Jordan. Music I really love a lot. But we also have artists that are coming from more of the Chicago style of blues, which is more guitar based and more blues harmonica based as well. So as far as there being a thread that goes through the program, I try to think about, does the music that this particular artist or band performed, does it have its foundation or roots in blues?
Now, is blues, did that originate in our country, the blues music?
Blues music is a traditional American art form. It's ours. It's American, as well as jazz too, for that matter. It's part of the melting pot of what America is about. All of the European influences, in addition to the influences of African American music and culture. And it's those things that are sort of fused together, that are uniquely American.
Which is why we should be so proud, and we should go and support this musical event. Okay, we're going to talk about what to write down on your calendar in a little bit. But what I'd also like to ask you is, now this is this a nonprofit organization that you formed?
It is a nonprofit organization. We just, this last year, got our letter of determination. We're very excited about that. Part of what we learned when we started in year one, and we had that very short 6-month time frame to work in, is we realized very quickly that without donation, without support, without a whole community coming together, this is not a business venture. You don't do this to get rich. You don't do this to, make your career. You really do this because you love the musicians and the music, and you want to support the art form. In order to do those kinds of things, you really need a team of people willing to donate time, resources, funds, space, and without all of those donations happening right from the beginning, there is absolutely no way this event would go on. And it was very, very obvious to us that we needed to form a nonprofit, form a board of interested parties, and make sure that we were operating in a way that honored all of the volunteerism that really did make this happen.
Well, I think that's to your credit that you realized that. So many people do try to do an event to make money, and it doesn't always happen that way. And so it never gets repeated, unfortunately, even if it's a great idea. I know I work with a lot of charities and organizations that are nonprofit as a volunteer and as a board member. And it's just a wonderful thing, what we can do with nonprofits today. It's been wonderful to see, and I've had a lot of them on the show. You know, I've had organizations that are for diseases such as autism and breast cancer research, you know, that kind of thing. And then we've had, like Safe Futures has been on our show quite a bit. And it's you know, it's great to, number one, support our nonprofits and our charitable organizations, whether as a volunteer or through donations. But it's also a wonderful thing that you can, that you understand the structure that's needed to make, to put together an event that will then be sustainable. And that is such a challenge when people start out these types of activities. So I give you a lot of credit that you've been able to organize it the way you needed to.
Thank you.
And of course, I'm looking forward to it, and I will be there. It's already on my calendar. So let's talk about beyond Johnny Winter. Who have been some of the performers over the last couple of years?
Well, we've had, I think I mentioned James Cotton earlier. He performed at the festival, was our Grand Marshal our first year, and our headliner on Friday night. And that was a thrill to have him be at our festival. We had Room Full of Blues the first and second year. We've had Matt Guitar Murphy, who you probably remember from the Blues Brothers movie.
Yeah.
It was wonderful to have him. He came up and was a special guest with Ricky King Russell both years. We have had Johnny Nicholas, who is another great blues musician who lives in Austin now, who's originally from Westerly, Rhode Island. Sugar Ray and the Blue Tones, another great group from the Westerly area.
And the Queen Bee.
Oh, of
Christine
course.
Ullman.
And
Yeah.
I was getting there. Christine Ullman, who you might know from the Saturday Night Live band. She's been in that band for many years, I think probably 20 years plus. And she's has an amazingly talented band of her own, has released several CDs. And she's been really a wonderful supporter of the festival. She's done a lot of promo for the festival, and she's coming this year as a special guest with the Knickerbocker All-Stars.
Wow.
So basically, the grand finale on Sunday will be her. And she'll be playing with Cliff Goodwin from her band, who's an amazing guitarist. He played with Joe Cocker for many years. So we're very excited about what we have for this year, too. Of course, I could probably tell you more about who we've had in the past, but I'm really excited about who we have coming this year.
Well, then tell us.
Our headliner on Saturday night is The Wait. The Wait, if you haven't heard of them, they've been together for about a year, maybe a little more. They are a group of musicians that played in the band. Or they were in Leigh Von Helms' group. If you don't know who Leigh Von Helms is, he was the original drummer from the band. And a couple of guys that played in Rick Danko's band, and Rick Danko was also a member of that group as well. Leigh Von Helms passed a couple of years ago, and so in the last year or so, a group of these guys wanted to get together and honor the music of the band and go out and still perform it. And it's obviously an important part of our pop culture. Many people love their music. And they are definitely fall astride of the blues, Americana, sort of country side of things. I'm really excited about having them. They're going to be performing all of the band's music that you've known, grown up with, and Jim Weeder is the leader of that group. He was playing in the band after Robbie Robertson left, and he's a virtuoso guitarist in his own right. So I'm really looking forward to it.
That sounds so exciting. I can't quite decide if I'm going to be able to be there for the whole weekend or not, but I'm going to be there. There's just nothing like live music. You know, we watch shows on TV like The Voice or American Idol. We get very excited and we get to feel like we know these people. But we've got glass and technology between us. There's just, when you go out to a festival, there's just something, it touches you not just through your ears, okay? There's an excitement. It's just, you can feel the energy in the air. You can feel little kids get up and dance because they feel the music. And that's what's so different about a festival. I know many, many years ago, well, I think you understood when we were talking before the show that I love jazz. Okay, can't help it, I just love jazz. I ran a jazz radio station for many years in upstate New York. Which is how I met a lot of the musicians. But I also started a festival, an outdoor festival. And this was in Rochester, New York. We had many venues that we could use outside, either in Canandaigua or Darien Lake. It was just outside. And it was just so exciting. And we didn't do it every year because I had other people helping me, and they would kind of come and go, and I had other things going on. But today, that festival has grown, and it's now the Rochester Xerox International Jazz Festival in Rochester, New York. And John Nugent runs it, and it's like, that it finally came together. So it needed somebody that, like yourself, that could pull it together and make it work. And it does. It shows all of the talent in the area, as well as some nationally, internationally known musicians. But I think it is important to honor and recognize your local musicians.
Absolutely.
And because there's just so much local talent. And it's music is a wonderful thing. Okay, so Marilyn, move on. Okay, what was it that you're hoping to achieve? I know we talked about recognition for the local musicians. Was there another part to this organization, this festival?
Absolutely, absolutely. So. Not only do we want to recognize local musicians, but this is a wonderful opportunity for education. So we have an education element as part of our mission. We're going to honor that in several different ways this year, and we've done in the past. So there's some workshopping that can happen. There's some lessons that can go on and happen. We're also going to have quite a few student performers who are going to perform in between the main acts on a side stage, so that we can show folks that, and not just kids. When I say students, I want to emphasize that I mean children and adults, because we encourage adults to continue to be learners and to be excited about learning music. We want to show people that this form of music is important. It's important from an educational standpoint. It's important to preserve it. It's important to understand what it is, why it's important to people, why it moves them, and to show people how excited folks still get to learn how to play and perform this music. So having the student element is very exciting for us, and we're starting to get that under our feet as we go. And we also hope, if done correctly, if we get our traction under us, this is something that we could have a budget surplus on, and we really do hope to support the Center for Hospice Care in Norwich. We love, love, love that organization. Just about everyone on our board and in our organization is a supporter of the Center for Hospice Care, and we felt like we wanted to say to ourselves, okay, you know, if we meet our goals financially and there's money left over, what do we want to contribute to that literally every single person can sort of understand and honor? And we decided that that organization is particularly particularly wonderful. We wanted to support them as well. So we've got a few tiers to our goals. We do like to think big.
And there's nothing wrong with that, you know. That's wonderful. That's you know, that adds even more to what you are trying to do. And now, so that the affiliation is the interest and the support that you all feel for the hospice.
Absolutely. I mean, our family has certainly benefited from the help of hospice care, as have many of our friends and board members. And so it was a very easy thing to come to the decision that, you know, if we can give a little bit more, if we can cover our costs and have a little bit more, that we want to be able to support them. And we have them down as vendors, and, you know, we support them physically in that way as well. So.
Now, will you have some tables there that people can have their information available so
Yes.
that people can learn more?
Absolutely. We have a vendor area at the festival, so in addition to having the Center for Hospice Care with an information booth, there'll be other people down there, other businesses as well, showing what they have, and you know, just give the patrons an opportunity, you know, in between seeing music, to walk around. We'll also have people, food vendors down there at the shipyard as well, beer and wine as well.
I should mention, actually, that the Art Miles Mural Project will be back, and that's an international UNESCO-supported organization that paints murals for peace. And we love the synergy that happens between live music and live art. So while the music is happening, we will have 12-foot murals out and available, and folks can come right up to the table and they can contribute to the murals that we'll be painting live on site, and we'll have some there for display as well. So the live art element is really exciting, and our vendors are unique and interesting too. It's not a place where you have 500 vendors. There's maybe 30, you know, so we have the ability to bring in some really neat folks with a lot of different kinds of things to offer.
So it sounds like it's obviously more than a music festival. It doesn't just have headliners and local talent. It has students. It also has the art element. It also has the informational element from businesses, and hospice will probably be there too. With
They
will.
certainly will, yes.
The last 2 years they've been.
I should probably mention too that, you know, we shuttle. We have a parking area that we usually park up at Fitch High School, and we do a little shuttle loop to bring people down. And it seemed like a good idea to us to have a little stop for the shuttle that's right near the Daniel Packer Inn, so that folks can hop down and walk downtown. So if you're, you know, if it's a 12-hour day, if you want to take a couple of hours, walk down, do a little shopping, maybe see some of the beautiful town, we really want everyone to know what a special place Mystic is. The event is wonderful, but there's a reason why we chose to put it in Mystic, and it's because this location is so unique and so beautiful, and we really did want to support the entire community, and we want our patrons to know what a gorgeous, beautiful seaside downtown village that we have. We wanted them to have the opportunity to also go and experience that.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to ask Frank to put up the website for the Mystic Blues Festival. And what you want to do is you want to go to that website and learn more about the event. And you can decide, of course, what days you want to put on your calendar, whether it's all three, which would be a wonderful thing. And now the shuttle information, that's on the website too? So
There's
pretty much
parking.
everything is on the website. Where can they purchase the tickets?
So tickets are available online through the website, and we also have a list of paper ticket vendors there. And there's several businesses that you can get tickets at. So we have String Theory School of Music. You can get tickets there. Radio Waves in Mystic, Tidal River, the Daniel Packer Inn, the Mystic Shipyard. I'm running through my mental list of places that we'll have, and there'll probably be several more listed as we go forward.
Spindrift
Guitars in New
Oh,
London.
yeah.
Yes, we'll have tickets available. So because not everyone is really comfortable with the online process, and if you pick up paper tickets, you can save a couple dollars on those pesky fees.
Yes, that's true. So, okay, get out your pen and paper, or just your pen and your calendar, which is the 26th of June, the 27th of June, and the 28th of June, okay? And I will remind you again towards the end of the show. What we're going to do is we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about more music, but we're going to talk about it from the viewpoint of a musician and a teacher, and how that came to be something called String Theory School of Music, okay? So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Can you help me with this? My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
He helps me with homework.
That would be 3.6795.
Thanks.
Yep.
He helps me with my decision making.
I wouldn't use this one. Ever.
And he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers.
I'm learning so much.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Up, college is hard. Down, those books are heavy.
My sport is football, but my passion is education.
Right up here.
So every year I take promising high schoolers on a college tour
Lights there, darts there.
to show them that higher education means a brighter future. My name is Nnamdi Asamoah. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
You can be a reader, tutor, or mentor too. Take the pledge at liveunited.org/volunteer.
Do you wear this?
And welcome back. This is From This Corner TV, and we're talking about music today. And we just finished telling you about the upcoming event in Mystic, the 3rd annual Mystic Blues Festival, which is going to be wonderful. And I remind you of the website as well as the time and place towards the end of the show. But what we want to do is we want to take the subject of music and talk about teaching music and playing music. Now, Chris, you're a musician.
Yes, I am.
Okay. And I know before the show you were telling me how special it is when someone that taught you actually comes to one of your gigs. And I'm sure the opposite is true too, when you also teach music.
Yes, I do.
And we had mentioned that some of the students are going to be playing at the Blues Festival, but tell me about what you have done with your music as far as the teaching side of it.
Well, I have been teaching for a long time. I started when I was still in college. I was actually teaching private lessons here in Groton at Ron's Guitars. I got hired when I was 19, and I was a student at Connecticut College. And I have to say that opportunity sort of set the taste for what I've done the rest of my adult life. I really got hooked on it. I liked I liked showing people something that they could take away with them and make their own music, and seeing the happiness and that they would get from learning a song by somebody that they liked, or knowing enough music theory, enough improvisation to improvise or write their own music. And there's something interesting about being a teacher too. I've said to all my students at one time or another, I probably have learned more teaching than any other thing that I've ever done. Because when you teach somebody something, you're giving it back to yourself too. Whether you're reinforcing something that you've known for a long time, you're just going over it again, or somebody comes in and asks you for something that you don't know how to do, and you have to figure it out so that you can show it to them. Mm-hmm. So my students have been some of my greatest teachers as well.
That's amazing. Now you have taken that to forming a school. A school. Now, when I met you a year or so ago, and I said I'd love to have you on the show, you said, why don't we wait till we've moved to the new space?
Yeah.
I think you had mentioned that. So, so tell us about this school.
Well, the school started 8 years ago. I had been teaching privately out of my home. I had worked for Thames Valley Music School, and I've taught a lot of local guitar shops over the years as well. I had mentioned Ron's Guitars. Mm-hmm. Amy being a school teacher and me being a musician, we have sort of complementary skill sets to do a school. And one of the things that I had always hoped for someday in my teaching was to see some of the follow through. While I always enjoyed the one-on-one lessons, with my students, I always wanted the opportunity to see them play the song, to take the things I'd showed them in maybe a half hour, an hour, and have them apply them, and by us starting the school, we now could sort of decide what our philosophy was and how we wanted to do things, and one of the things that we decided that was very important was this opportunity to allow the students to perform as often as possible. So we decided that we would do a monthly performance. In fact, at this point, we do 10 performances a year, and we do a scholarship concert too. That's 11. So, but we give the students basically 10 opportunities per year to perform with the teachers, or if they're in a group. We have, like the Movie School of Rock, we have ensembles or rock groups. People get together and play music together and learn sort of the protocol of how to be in a band with a bunch of other individuals, how to communicate, and how to learn a piece of music from start to finish. And depending on what instrument they're in, have an opportunity to take the skills that they've maybe learned in their private lesson and apply them in this real world environment, so to speak.
Now, are we talking about just children, or do you also have adults that are students?
Oh, we have adults. In fact, we have a pretty robust group of adult students at our school, and our student population is pretty diverse. I mean, we've got little kids, that start as young as 4 or 5 years old doing.
Wow, actually younger.
Well,
yeah.
So in some cases, yeah, doing Kinderband, which is like a little kids music program that Amy started at the school, and she and I taught together for several years, and then we have folks that are retired that maybe you know, they played when they were in college, or they played a little bit, but now they're at a point where they have a little more me time. They can focus on their music and practicing and really putting some time into it. So it's really a wonderful, supportive group of people. It's a community of learners and people that want to play music.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, I'm going to ask Frank to bring up the website for the music school, which is the String Theory. There it is. It's the second one, String Theory School of Music. There's a lot of information on their website, and it tells you a little bit on the About Us page. It tells you about the history of the school, and now you mentioned the word scholarship. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, you know, in our opinion, if you're going to have a school, you're going to have a community, a scholarship is a natural way for the members of that community to come together and offer something. And this is the way that our community does that. So we have teachers and students come together. We have families come together. We do a ticketed event once a year where we do active fundraising. And we've been able to partner with the Community Foundation in New London, and with our friend Lisa Marion, who teaches middle school at music at Benny Dover in New London. And we worked with them so that we could keep a scholarship fund at the Community Foundation, which you can donate to if you go to their website, if you'd like to make a donation to support a student from Benny Dover coming to the school. We give full year scholarships every year. And we've been able to do that now for, I think, 5 years. We've been doing it. So we've been really successful at being consistent and being able to offer that every year. And we actually offered a second scholarship this year through the generous help of one of our students, one of our adult students who wanted to give back to the school. So we love the opportunity to reach out to the community, because it is it's a private business, and you have to charge tuition to give the quality that you want to give in education. So in order for us to make that more available to people, we really do need the help and support of our community to come together. And they've been wonderful about doing that every year. And we've been very, very excited about all of our scholarship students. They're so passionate about what they're doing. They're such an inspiration when you see them come each week and get better and just really take those lessons to heart. So we have to thank the teachers that are involved, the parents, all of the community members that have really made us able to give that scholarship every year for so long, and we hope to keep it going indefinitely.
I think that sounds wonderful. It's music is powerful. Okay, it's powerful because it connects people. It crosses all boundaries. It teaches children something very special and makes them feel good, which is always a good thing too. And if you do have an interest in donating for the scholarship for the Community Foundation of Eastern Connecticut, there is a link on their website, the school website. But if you want to go directly, it's www.cfect.org. But there is a link on their website, which will make it easier for you. Now, you moved the location of the school in the last year or so?
In August, actually, we moved we were off the Rocky Neck exit in East Lyme, and we are currently across the street from East Lyme High School. So it's a little easier to find us.
25 Chesterfield Road,
Yep.
in East Lyme.
25 Chesterfield Road. Write that down.
Put it in your navigation.
Yes, absolutely. Are there other schools like this in the area? I didn't know that there were. I know there are individual one-on-one lessons that people give, either through a music store or something like that. But the thing that impressed me with this school is, number one, the way you do teach and you do have all of these concerts so that your students take what they're learning and apply it. Because if you do learn but you don't apply it, you don't really learn it. Because, you know, you learn the basics, but to take it and help it grow, you know, because each person has their own kind of way of appreciating music. And when you get together as a group and you play music together, it makes it even more special.
I think we're unique in the way that we do our performances. In addition to it being an opportunity for people to try out what they've been working on in a supportive environment, you know, everybody there wants to do well. But it's also a community building opportunity, and a lot of these folks become friends and do things outside of the school. They get together and play and make music. So I think that's unique too. I think a lot of other music schools will do recitals and do performances, but usually with not the kind of frequency that we do. I think because we're meeting so regularly that it takes a lot of the nervousness out of performing over the course of some time, you know, over the course of a year, for example. You know, I've seen students that were, you know, petrified of the idea of getting up and playing. Over the course of 6 months to a year, you know, just totally shed that and get used to the idea of playing and standing up in front of a group of people. And that sort of frequency allows them to you know, feel like this is old hat. I've done this before.
We should also give some time and some credit to the teachers and to the philosophy that we work under. You know, the fact that Chris and I are both educators, lifelong educators, does make it a unique place. This is really a public school philosophy. It says that each and every learner is a unique individual. When they come in, it is our job to meet their needs. It is not their job to drink from the well or the fountain of our wisdom. It is really up to us to say, who are you? What are your goals? What do you need in order to feel good about playing music, in order to have success, in order to have this be a part of your life that you feel really good about? And we take that job so very seriously when you come there. You can come to string theory and learn any style of music that you want to. You can feel like you are free to play jazz one month and play classical the next month and play rock and roll the next month. And that kind of diversity, I think, really does serve a modern audience. We are about as eclectic as we've ever been as listeners. And I think that the string theory teachers are very good about honoring each and every student as an individual and giving them the freedom to play and learn the music that they really love. And that's very important. We really try not to pigeonhole ourselves or any of our students.
Yeah, our philosophy is really based on that idea of somebody is coming to us and we're asking them, what do you want to learn? Instead of, there being a one-size-fits-all method. Somebody can learn music theory, learn how to read music, learn all of the tools on their instrument, technique, and so on, through the prism of something that they care about. So that's a super important thing. But also, I think that something that's important is allowing people to experience success. Myself and all of our teachers are well aware of this idea, and they're great about it. You know, we want to give the student an opportunity to be challenged, but give them something that is within reach. You know, and so they're building on a series of successes, and I think that's another thing that you don't necessarily always see like right up front, but you know, we as a group of teachers talk about that, and I think this kind of goes back to the concept of differentiated learning comes out of you know, the public schools. This idea that, you know, you want to you want to motivate somebody to learn based on something that they're passionate about.
And the team approach is absolutely irreplaceable. You get a lot of team learning in modern school and modern education. We've asked our staff to be a team. We've asked them to communicate about what their students need. They trade off students. They walk into each other's rooms. If you hear a song that you like as a teacher, you might just walk in and start playing with that other teacher and that student, because we know that we have our own students as individuals, but each teacher really does understand that every student at the school is their student, and we really do work as a team, and that's how the monthly performances really work. If this team of teachers did not get together, did not communicate, did not rehearse, did not make those students the center of all of their focus, no matter who they took the private lessons with, it would be a very different experience.
That is very unique. I just, I'm not well versed on how music schools go, but that sounds very, I've never heard anything like that before. I love it. Now, I'm sure there are a lot of people that are watching the show that are going, I always wanted to learn how to play this. What do they do from that, no matter what age they are? And they say, this sounds like a really good school, and maybe I should look at their website first thing.
Yep.
And then what is the process that you go
So
through?
usually folks give us a call and they want to chat with us a little bit and see whether or not we're offering what they're looking for and what our programming is like. We definitely suggest that they schedule a trial lesson. Usually myself, Chris, Paulette, Josie, one of us will talk to them and just get a sense of, what is that something that you've been waiting to do, and how can we start to help you on the path to being successful with that? And that starts right from that first conversation. People also can email us, stringtheoryoffice@gmail.com. You can just send us an email, let us know what it is that you're looking for, and we'll give you a call. And we really like to take quite a bit of time in the beginning. We want to get to know that client. We want to get to know what their goals are, and also we want to get to know, have they had any experiences in the past that were negative? If you spent 12 years having your knuckles hit because you didn't play your scales and arpeggios correctly, we want to know that. We don't want to repeat those kinds of experiences. So really it starts with that conversation. It starts with opening the door and finding out a little bit about who this person is. And then we ask them to come into our environment, give it a try, meet some of our other teachers, feel what it's like to be in our environment. And then if they want to join the community and finish out a semester, they're welcome to do that.
That sounds wonderful. Gosh, you're writing this down, aren't you? It's like everybody, every child who, they say, what do you want to be when you grow up? Well, first, they're a veterinarian, or a doctor or something. And then there's usually, I want to be a famous singer, or I want to learn how to play guitar, or something like that. Let's talk about the instruments that you have available.
Well, we have guitar.
Mm-hmm.
We started with one teacher, that was me. And then our good friend Josie Davis joined us, and she's a wonderful singer, pianist, and guitarist, and a composer. We have bass. We have an electric bass teacher, Les Haley, and we have upright bass teacher, James Hunter. We have another piano teacher, Rufus Davis, who's a wonderful player. We have
Percussion.
We have percussion. How could I forget? David Brensilver teaches percussion, drum set.
Yes.
And
Woodwinds?
Kirk Edwards, is former Coast Guard band musician. He does saxophone, flute, and clarinet. We have our kinder band program. Danny
right.
Bobby Leigh is one of our teachers. She's wonderful with children.
We've got some, teachers that we've reached out to over time that teach a little bit eclectic instruments. So we've had some accordion instruction there from time to time. With Sue McKay, we've had harmonica instruction. We've had ukulele instruction, violin instruction. We are just getting to know Dana Takaki, who's local here. And so when folks, if they're looking for something and we don't have it, though, we will always try to reach out and see if we can find someone for them or someone that we can send their way. So, for example, right now we don't have a banjo teacher, but if somebody were to call, we would make our effort to try and send them to the best place that we could find for them.
I'm excited. This is great. This is wonderful. To have this right in our neighborhood is a wonderful thing, and my grandson plays drums, so he's all set with a teacher and everything. But if he hadn't been, then I would have told my daughter, call this place, okay? Check it out, because your method is so different. It's. People say, well, our school system, they offer music. You can either join the chorus or you can join the band. And that's a wonderful thing. But, sometimes you need something a little more than just that to enhance, if you're interested, if there's the passion and the interest. Mm-hmm. So I'm so glad that you told us about this, and it's a wonderful resource for you to know about. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to, in our last few minutes, I'm going to remind you that we started out talking about the 3rd annual Mystic Blues Festival. And that is being held in the Mystic Shipyard in Mystic, Connecticut, June 26th, 27th, and 28th. If you can't commit to the whole weekend, try to go at least one of those days and enjoy the music. It's going to be great. It's going to be grand. And you can go to their website and order tickets there, or on the website is a list of physical places that you can go. You can go downtown Mystic and get tickets there at different places. And it's going to be a wonderful event, and I'm so glad that we got you here to talk about it. I appreciate it very much. And what I like to do is I like to come up with a quote at the end of each show, which kind of fits the subject matter. So I found one from Bob Marley, and we all know who he was. And he said, one good thing about music, when it hits you, you feel no pain. Now, he generally didn't feel pain anyway, but it's true. Music is magical. It can lift your mood. It's a world within itself. It's a language that we all understand. And I think that's what we need to keep in mind. And what I'm going to do is we're going to have some upcoming shows. They're going to take that even a little bit further. We're going to have a gentleman from New York City who's going to come in and be in our program. His name is Jim Papoulis, and he is a composer and musical director who's worked with Beyonce, Lady Gaga, even Snoop Dogg. And what he does, his passion is going around the world and going around our country currently and working with children that are in choruses or helping to put together choirs and choruses of children and actually write a song with them. He's written over 1,000 songs, and he's very, very interesting, and he's going to be a great show. And then we're going to follow up that show with a couple of wonderful teachers in the Stonington School District, our Mystic Middle School choir teacher and our music teacher, and they'll be following up that show. But our next show is, see, we got them all lined up. Isn't that a wonderful thing? Our next show is going to be focusing on Sails Up for Cancer, their annual regatta weekend. And there's some things that are, that's also at the Mystic Shipyard. And that's also in June. And that's benefiting children battling cancer. So they're going to be our next program. But I would love to say thank you so much for
Thank you,
coming on our
Marilyn.
program. It was wonderful. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Thank you.
And if you have an idea for a show, just go to my website and check it out, see the kind of people that we bring on our show. Let me know. Send me an email, and I will look into it. We've got a waiting list at the moment, which is a wonderful thing. And then what we'll do is we will see you the next show with Sales Up for Cancer. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.